PowerBoat Television is sponsored by Sea-Doo. When it comes to recreation, there is no contest. And BoatBuys.com, 20,000 boats online.
Hey, I'm Matt Spencer, and welcome to PowerBoat Television. Can you guess what's behind me? Well, would you believe me if I told you it's Saskatchewan? This week on the show, we packed up and we headed to the prairies to prove that yes, there are lakes in Saskatchewan. When you think of Saskatchewan, you probably immediately picture the rolling fields of wheat it's most commonly known for. You probably don't picture this. The province isn't predominantly considered a boating destination, which is really quite a shame because, as we'll soon find out, it's teeming with lakes waiting to be explored. Flying out of Toronto, we landed in Saskatchewan's most populous city, Saskatoon. And since a boat wouldn't fit in the overhead compartment, we headed directly over to our friends at Martin Motorsports to get hooked up for the trip.
Hey, Matt.
Randy, how you doing?
Not bad. How's it going?
Good.
Good. Good trip?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, smooth flight, no problems at all.
Awesome. Right on.
So I got the truck. Do you have a boat ready to go?
It's ready to go.
Why don't we get out front, hook up?
Sure.
With Saskatoon just one of 5 locations out west, Martin Motorsports is the world's #1 Mastercraft, Moomba, Supra, and Manitou pontoons dealer, proving yes, people do boat out here. Randy explained what type of boaters they see in Saskatchewan.
We sell from $5,000 fishing boats up to our Mastercrafts or our Supras or our high-end Bennington pontoon boats. So we see everybody here. We're starting to get a lot of day boaters, that come in and take off from the city, just go to a lake for the day and spend the whole day on a boat. So that's where they want either a big pontoon boat or a big ski boat. And then also a lot of cottage people too. People that just want to have their boat on a lift all summer. We do parts and service for all our brands. We do Mastercraft, Moomba, Supra, Manitou, Bennington pontoon boats. Kind of try to do the whole package for boaters. They can come in and buy everything, docks, lifts, everything from us.
With boat in tow, we left Martin's and headed 145 kilometers south to the village of Elbow, Saskatchewan. Elbow sits on the shores of our first boating destination and one of the biggest lakes in the province, Lake Diefenbaker. At 225 kilometers long with about 800 kilometers of shoreline, this man-made lake was formed in 1967 and is used for irrigation and water supplies. We launched at Elbow Harbor, home of the Lake Diefenbaker Yacht Club, which has boats of all types and sizes, from cruisers to pontoons to sailboats. The club basin is tucked into one of the lake's many coves and is completely sheltered from any wind. Once you head into the mouth of the cove, the lake opens up in front of you, revealing mile after mile of sparkling and serene water that just seems to go on forever. So we just launched into Lake Diefenbaker in the town of Elbow, Saskatchewan. And sure enough, there are actually lakes here, and Lake Diefenbaker being one of the biggest. It's really quite funny though, because you're driving and you do not expect to see a lake, let alone one as impressive in size as Lake Diefenbaker is. We've got an awesome sunny day. I've got the bimini up on the Manitou here, so we got lots of exploring to do, so let's head out. With its open stretches, Diefenbaker is popular with sailors, but there are plenty of powerboats as well. The lake's winding and cutting shape provides quiet coves for boaters to tuck into for a day, with miles and miles of naturally private sandy beaches. I was even more surprised when we rounded a corner and there was a flock of pelicans on the lake. With such a low population density along its shores, Lake Diefenbaker is a haven for birds. We even found a rather large flock heading towards the Capel River Dam. There are many provincial parks along Diefenbaker's shores, including Douglas and Saskatchewan Landing, so it's quite popular with campers as well. It's a good thing we had the 250 horsepower E-Tech high output because we had a lot of water to cover. Well, the Manitou's put to bed for the night after an awesome afternoon spent on Lake Diefenbaker. Now don't go anywhere, because later in the show we're going to stay in Saskatchewan, only this time we're headed north.
Time for Power Profile, brought to you by BoatTest.ca.
You know, the saying is sometimes if you love something enough, you still have to let it go. And that's what Princecraft had to do with their Versailles line, but instead for 2013 replacing it with the all-new Vogue series. So in this Power Profile, we're going to look at the all-new Princecraft Vogue 25 XT.
Part of an evolving pontoon lineup, the new Vogue series possesses subtleties of other Princecraft models. First of which is the stylish molded fiberglass front, similar to what you see on the SVX series. The molded-in docking and LED lights are sleek and sporty, and a nice change of pace from your standard aluminum gates. Second are the side-by-side captain's chairs midship. This is Princecraft's XT package, which was first introduced on the Vantage that we profiled last year. The 25 XT is one of 5 Vogue models ranging from 21 to 25 feet. I've always liked the interior of Princecraft pontoons. The ultra-modern and stylish upholstery is similar to what you'd see in a high-end vehicle. Aft you have what looks like a fully enclosed lounge, but the center cushion can actually be removed and placed at the bow to enclose that area as well. That's actually where it belongs. And of course, there's plenty of storage under all the seats in the rotocast bases. These bases are vented and have rain channels to keep your gear dry and fresh.
Now the benefits of the performance package isn't just speed, there's actually a lot of practicality as well. When you add that center log, it also gives you a great in-floor ski locker.
Practicality comes in a newly improved, more compact privacy area that also features a chemical toilet. The helm stand features a molded full wood dash with multifunction gauges. I like how Princecraft has separated the switches in stereo to right in front of the Mercury SmartCraft controls.
Now it's pretty fitting that this all-new model also features Princecraft's all-new APS concept. And what that is here on the side gates, you'll see sometimes they put the panels either on the inside or the outside. Well, now it's on both to create this new square modular concept.
The APS stands for Advanced Premium Styling, and that's exactly what it is. Princecraft avoided the use of tubes for the styling, which creates this slick, flowing design that will definitely turn heads. It makes the Vogue look fast, both at the dock and out on the water. But it's more than just looks with the 3-log performance package and the Mercury Verado on this model.
So I think it's pretty well documented that I'm a big fan of performance packages on pontoons, and apparently so are you. According to Princecraft, almost every Vogue that's been ordered has come with the performance package, so it just shows that these high-speed pontoons are here to stay.
You may spend a little extra money with upgrades like that, but it gives you so much more out of your pontoon. When you can cruise easily at 30 miles per hour and top out at over 40 miles per hour like this Vogue does, you can go out on day trips or head out skiing while having a crowd on board all at the same time. The upgrade to the Verado is worth every penny. It's smooth, extremely quiet, and has power for days. Everything you want on a pontoon. All in all, I was very impressed with this sample of the new Vogue series.
The pontoon market has been the hottest boat segment in the past couple years, and if you don't do anything to change it up, you're going to get left behind. So as much as we're going to miss the Versailles line, I think Princecraft has a real winner with the Vogue series. This 25 XT is cool, it's sharp looking, it's comfortable, and best of all, it's fast. Everything you need to compete in today's pontoon market.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BoatBuys.com. Ready to buy? Then head to BoatBuys.com, where you'll find thousands of new and used boats for sale. Time for Boatitis, brought to you by Boats and Places magazine. See the digital edition at boatsandplaces.com.
In 1985, Regal launched their flagship express cruiser. Not only did that boat make a big splash for a small company, but it went on to win design awards and become one of the best-selling large express cruisers of the late 1980s. Now that boat is this week's Fooditis subject, the Regal Commodore 360. The 360s were produced from 1985 through 1990. This 1986 model is an early example, so future years would see many changes and refinements. But the overall design remained the same, like the industry's first curved windshield. With a length of 36 feet at the waterline and 42 feet overall, and a 13-foot 1-inch beam, this commanding size gives her wide side decks that are great for moving forward. At the bow, this 360 had an upgraded windlass with foot pedals and a custom stainless roller system. Now, one of the greatest attributes to the Regal 360s from their entire production run is the size of this cockpit. There's room to relax, there's room to dine al fresco, there's room for 4 facing forward at the helm, and if you have the optional additional seat, more seating and storage, but they also came with a wet bar and refreshment center in the cockpit as well. The cockpit has been reupholstered and upgraded with some practical features. Not only will you find the expected storage under the U-shaped seating, but the transom seat back has been modified to open up that area for storage as well. Other enhancements include the hinge companion seating that reveals a cooler and a 6-way power seat system at the helm. The helm layout and instruments are classic 80s, but this 360 has an upgraded chart plotter with sonar and fuel computing. It also boasts a DSC VHF radio, Cobra Bluetooth cell phone handset, Bennett trib tab indicators, and auto control. Below decks, the forward cabin features a raised angled berth with storage below, an overhead hatch, and 2 screen ports for ventilation. For a 36-foot express, the salon is spacious with circular seating around a hydraulic table. To expand the dining capacity to 6, the love seat has spring-loaded drop legs, so it can be repositioned at the table. The salon's entertainment system has been upgraded to a 12-volt HD digital TV with DVD and a Sony AM/FM CD marine stereo with satellite radio. The open galley features a large counter, microwave, 3/4 AC/DC fridge, concealed stove, and double stainless sink, and ample storage overhead and below the counter. Across from the galley, the head has an initial area for a vanity and a second molded fiberglass compartment for the head and shower. The mid-cabin has a stand-up change area where you'll find the comprehensive AC and DC electrical panels. The berth is a full queen with a screen port and window to the cockpit offering ventilation. Getting underway, the twin Mercruiser 454s combine 680 horsepower and upgraded 4-bladed props get the Commodore to plane easily. At a dry weight of 18,000 pounds, the Regal 360 is not a sport boat, but turns are tight and steady. Cruises a respectable 23 knots at 3,500 RPM, and her top speed is 27 knots. All in all, a solid cruising hull without any vices. If you're looking for a spacious and comfortable wide-beam express cruiser, look no further than the Regal Commodore 360. After a 5-year production run, there's certainly plenty on the used market for you to choose from.
Here's this week's My Boat feature.
If you put as many hours on your boat in a summer as I do, you want to make sure you hit all the regular maintenance points, most importantly your engine oil and your transmission fluid. So that's why in this week's My Boat project, we're going to take you through changing your transmission fluid. First on this simple inboard, and then later on the more complicated V-drives. Now the manual on this 89 Mastercraft calls for you to change the transmission fluid every 100 hours. Now as the boat gets older and the more you use it, it certainly doesn't hurt to do it more than that. And when you see how easy it is, there'll be no excuses not to. Now, one of the biggest questions or concerns is, how do I get all the old transmission fluid out? Well, a quick tip is to actually just use a simple drill pump. Put one end in the transmission and the other end of the hose into a bucket or a jug, and simply just pump all the old stuff out. Now, you should always consult your manual if you're changing your transmission fluid for the first time. You see, in 1989, this Mastercraft had the option of either a 1-to-1 ratio or a 1.5-to-1 ratio transmission like we have today. Both call for Dexron 2 transmission fluid, but the 1.5-to-1 like we have today calls for an extra quart. And finally, you'll just want to double check your fluid levels, first now and again later when it's hot. And really, that's it. It's a simple project that can save you a lot of headache later on down the road in your boat's life. Now, if you have V drives, it's a little more complicated, so I'm going to hand it over to Mike and he'll take you the rest of the way.
Thanks, Matt. And yes, V drives are different. You can't just pump the transmission fluid out of them using an electric pump or a vacuum siphon, and that's because of their configuration. The shape just won't allow you to get to the bottom of it. And in most applications, they have a transmission cooler, so you've got to get the fluid from there as well. Now, the easiest way to get the fluid out of a transmission is to disconnect one of the transmission cooling lines, and in this case, the one that goes to the bottom of the case for the transmission into the cooler here. The transmission cooler is tucked in along the side. So what I've done is disconnect the water hose from the pump and undone the mount so we can bring this out into position so you can see what I'm doing here. And it's as simple as disconnecting the line that runs from the bottom of the V drive to the cooler. Well, it's all drained, so the next task is to reconnect the cooler line and reinstall the transmission cooler. Next task is to refill the transmission. Now, normally that would be done in the engine compartment, but because the transmissions in this particular express cruiser tuck in under the mid cabin, this is where we do it. Now, because this V-drive transmission installation does have the external hoses and transmission cooler, the only proper way to check to see it's at the right level is to start the engine, let it idle at 1500 for 3 minutes, and then check the level after you quickly shut down. That's all there is to it. That's what you need to know to change your transmission fluids, whether it's a straight drive or a V-drive.
When we last left off, we had put the boat on the trailer and started to head to our next destination in northern Saskatchewan, Candle Lake. We were told we'd be in for a big surprise when we got up there, so I couldn't wait. When we arrived at Candle Lake Golf Resort, our home for the next 2 days, we certainly were surprised. Rolling prairies were replaced by thick, dense trees of the boreal forest. I caught up with Rick Rumberger, the resort's CEO and general manager, who told me about the lake and the resort itself.
People have lived here since about 1910. There was farming attempted up here in the 30s and whatnot. It didn't succeed very well, but forestry definitely was the impetus for the growth of Candle Lake, and now today is tourism. It's sort of been the hidden gem of Saskatchewan. It's a fairly large lake, it's got good fishing. As you can see, it's good for boating and water skiing and that sort of thing as well. We bought the original 9 holes in 2003, ran it for 1 year like that, then started constructing a new 9 in 2004. We had it open by 2006. So we've been operating 18 holes since then. During that time, we also built our RV park, rental cabins, and then a townhouse accommodation, as well as the pro shop and convention center that you see right now. The marina, actually, we did it according to Oceans and Fisheries guidelines. We dug it 12 feet deep so that it became a good fish habitat. There's 185 slips in it, and we have fiberglass floating docks that stay in the marina for the year round.
With that, we let Rick get back to it and we headed out just to see what he was talking about. The following day, we met up with Captain Ted's Water Tours to get some local knowledge of the lake. Captain Ted and his wife Judy offer 2-hour tours on the lake on their pontoon. Ted does the driving and Judy does the narrating.
Okay, now as we come out of the marina, you'll notice a little island on your right-hand side. Okay, that's called Pelican Island. It's a rookery and nesting area for the pelicans.
So those are actually pelicans.
Yes.
We saw those first on Diefenbaker and weren't sure.
Yeah.
Just because it didn't look like they had like a gullet like a pelican.
That's because they're the young ones.
Oh, okay.
Now as you can see, once you get out into the lake, the full length of the lake, and that's 18 miles long. And it's shaped like an ice cream cone, kind of turned on its side.
Yep.
And 13 miles across. And we have right at Candle Lake here, it's called Route 66 in the wintertime.
Yep.
We have 700 miles of groomed trails.
Wow.
As Judy continued to share the many stories, facts, and legends of Candle Lake, we grew nearer to having coffee with the eagles, as Judy describes it. But as we approached the eagle's nest, it was empty.
If you keep going, I think just on the birch tree behind. Yep, right on the birch tree. Do you see her? Right ahead. Keep going,
Oh yeah, look at that.
Having only ever seen one bald eagle in my lifetime, this was certainly the highlight of my trip.
What an awesome trip we've had here in Saskatchewan. The people have been fantastic. We got to thank our friends at Martin Motorsports, Ted and Judy, Rick at Candle Lake Resort, and of course Tourism Saskatchewan for making this trip what it was for us. We've certainly found out that yes, there are lakes in Saskatchewan, and there's some pretty good ones at that.
Next week on the show, we'll delve into what's new in inflatables and check out electronics for small boats.
PowerBoat Television has been sponsored by Sea-Doo and BoatBuys.com. To watch the show on broadband or for any questions or comments, visit us at PowerBoatTV.com or follow us on Twitter.